Hi, everybody. So good to see you guys and so excited for this live. This is going to be awesome. So, we are waiting for the millennial soul to come on and we'll see. But before that, there she is. Let's see if I can get her. Yep. Yay! So exciting.
Hi.
Yay! So
How's
good
it
to see
going?
you. So
Okay.
excited.
Yay, this is my first live.
I know. Me too.
Looks,
So, live
looks like
version
us right now,
going
but
live.
yeah.
Oh. So, hopefully we get some people on here soon. We'll see. I mean, hey, you never know, but we'll post
Yeah.
it on the IG live and then everybody can view it and enjoy it. So,
Awesome.
so how are you doing? Like just with life in general, are you doing good, Miss Podcaster?
Yeah, I'm doing well. It's been a kind of a stormy last couple of days here, so I've just been kind of like doing a lot of reading and like sleeping. It's been nice to like relax for a little bit.
Yeah.
So and then set some of my new goals for the month this morning, so that's always fun. How have you been?
I've been good. We don't get hurricanes or tropical storms here. It's just cool 70s. So you should
Yeah.
come this way. But I love storms, so I'm slightly jealous too because it just adds that dynamic of, you know,
Yeah.
you just don't know what's going to happen. The weather can change anytime. So that variable, I just love.
I love summer storms, but sadly it's just been like gloomy here. There was a little bit of thunder, but like it thunders every night in the summer here because it's hot. So I was a little sad about that.
Yeah.
But
Aw. Well,
yeah.
so let's start the conversation. And
Okay.
so a couple questions came in regarding manifestation and just kind of like how more of like how do you know if something that you want is what is meant for you to manifest, because I think they're thinking like, I can have all these lofty dreams and desires for my life, but how do I know if that's in alignment maybe with like their purpose or what they want for their life? Do you have any feedback on that of like differentiating between something that's just like it's in the moment, you want it, but maybe it's not necessarily in alignment and that the universe wouldn't meet that need because it's not in alignment with you?
Well, I think that if you want something, the universe will bring it to you if you believe and like can get aligned with it. So I think that anything you want can be for you. If they're worried about purpose, I always go back to this part that was in the Secret where Neil Donald Walsh was like, I thought God had this big purpose for me, and then I realized that I get to decide it. So I kind of think of it that way, that if you want to do something, it's meant for you and you have everything you need to manifest it. I think that sometimes though, like especially in terms of if you're trying to make a relationship work or something, that sometimes you want something, yeah, and it's more that you want the feeling of it. So sometimes if you have like business ideas, maybe you want the feeling of freedom. And I would say get in like a relationship, you want the feeling of love. It doesn't need to come from that person. So I think that if you can align with the feeling behind what you want, you can align with that and you will get it. If anything is a failure, it's just redirection. So I don't really think that there's anything that you want that the universe would be like, no, 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 you can't have that. I think the only thing would be it would bring you something better. So you might think that you're getting your dream job and then it gets passed over and you realize that actually you have to learn one more skill and then you get a job that's 10 times better. So I feel like that's like really what it comes down to.
Yeah, I agree because I don't think that anything is outside, like anything that we would dream of or want is outside of the ability to experience it or have it in your life. But I thought it was an interesting question because I think it comes down to being centered and knowing what you want in your life. You know, I think that question was more of like, I'm not sure what I want and I want to manifest good things, but how do I know if something, you know, is meant for me in my life? If that's something I should want, you know, which is a really kind of broad question, but I thought it was an interesting question because I think it just boils down to you need to know yourself and know what you want in your life, and then that way you're strategic in what you're manifesting and what you're asking the universe for. So I see we have a couple more viewers. I think maybe they joined, but questions you can bring. So I think too, just in even re-listening to our episode, I was just also thinking about, you know, thought life. And I think that is something that's hard because most of us are run by our own thoughts and we're not really conscious with that. And we discussed that on the episode of consciously thinking. But do you have maybe like any tips for anyone as far as how to be strategic with your thinking, and so that you're better in alignment with what you want to manifest?
Yeah, I guess my advice would be, first off, like, pay attention to your thoughts. If you're trying to manage your thinking, like, you really have to get used to all your thoughts coming in and realizing, oh, is this something that I want to manifest or something I don't? If you can't even pull back and notice your thoughts, then you can't change them. So yeah, I would definitely start with that. And then what I like to do is, if I'm trying to manifest something, I write it as like my 2.0 version of myself. And I write out like a quick little, like, it can be a page, it can be 25 pages, whatever you want, of how that person would think and react to situations. So I have kind of like a blueprint to go off of. So if I see myself reacting to something in a way that's not in alignment with what I'm trying to manifest, then you can kind of stop once you notice those thoughts and say, okay, how would I want to think about it? If I was this person, what would I do? And then see if you can switch to that. Sometimes you can't just switch your thoughts like that, especially when it's new and you're not used to controlling them. But over time, it'll get easier and easier. So just take a step towards that, whatever you can do by switching your thoughts.
That's so good. That's so good. Writing it out, I think, is everything. Like, even if you don't like to journal, you can bullet point it, you know, and just at least have a blueprint that, you know, okay, future me would say this, you know, the person that I want to be and how I want to think and react to things and manifest, that's what I would be doing. That's so good. Because I think it is being aware. That's like one of the biggest things with thought life, is not just letting your thoughts run you, you know. And even when you're excited about something, you know, something great happens in your life and now you really can't concentrate on work or, you know, even stuff like that.
You're so hyped about it.
Yeah, it's so hard. Because your thoughts, man, they're so linked to emotions and memories and all that kind of stuff. So is there anything on manifestation that you felt like maybe you didn't get to talk about in the podcast, or share anything like from your new episodes on your new podcast, which is awesome?
Yeah, I launched a podcast. I have like a list of like 30 episodes I want to do. I've recorded, I think, 10, and I've edited 5. So there are 5 that are live right now. If anyone hasn't, you can listen. I cut out a lot more of my likes than I was like, more, but then I thought it was funny after. I was like, that's just how I talk.
I say, you know, like every other sentence, and I'm like, gosh, dang.
I was like, I guess it makes it real. It makes it relatable, unpolished. Yeah.
It's funny how you hear things, you know, when you start podcasting. You're like, do I say that?
Yeah. Oh gosh.
But
thing that I feel like I forgot. I mean, I feel like I could talk about manifesting forever, and I could also sum it up in like 2 words. So it's
Yeah. Is there anything you would want to share for people? You know, just about like how to manifest, pitfalls of manifesting, or how to get really clear so that you make sure that, you know, I love somebody that I read said, don't say what you don't want, you know, as what you want. And I think we do that like when we're searching for a partner. We end up talking about the previous partnerships, you know, and say, well, I don't want somebody that's like this, and I don't want somebody that's like that. So yeah, don't give me that. And
you
we're
can't
not saying, like what we want, you know.
I mean, that's a huge pitfall, is that people think that they can like stomp out what they don't want. They think like, oh, if I'm so angry and fired up about what I don't want, then I can't get more of it. And especially, I think that's so escalated on social media now, is that people are constantly like, oh, I don't like this, I need to fight about it, I need to make sure everyone's aware about it. And I'm always like cringing. I'm like, you're giving your energy exactly to what you don't want. You're creating more of it. You're like shooting yourself in the foot right now. So I would say that's the biggest downfall. It's not, I don't know why people think it's cool to be negative and spread it and like want to make other people angry. I think that that is not cool. Personally.
I agree.
Yeah, for clarity, I would say like, always I always start with like going back to what you wanted as a kid, because I think that when we're kids and we're dreaming, we dream a lot freer than we do as adults. As adults, we kind of say like, that's not realistic, I don't want that. So I think even like, I really wanted to be a singer when I was a kid. I told you this. And now I'm like, oh, well, I think I can't sing, but I could do speaking. It's a similar transition. So I would say if you really don't know, if you have no clarity, start with what you really liked as a kid, and then see the adult version of that, or how that would apply into your life. And I think also you really have to just ask for clarity. So if that's praying, journaling, meditating, being in nature, if you can figure out what you want clarity on, you will get the answer within a couple of days, if that's your intention. So that would be my advice for like clarity. And then just always focus on the end in manifesting. People think that manifesting is like doing work. So they're like, okay, I have this assigned task and I need to do steps 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 to finish it. But that's not really how it works. You just kind of hold the end task, believe in it, and align with it. You don't have to go out and do 100 things to force it into being.
So good. So good. Yeah. Because I think that's also hard, is because we want it so bad, we force it, and we like try to make it happen instead of just letting it come, be natural, you know, about it.
Yeah.
So good. So any like additional pitfalls, or maybe things that people should be aware about, or, you know, and just look out for in their own manifestation journey?
If they're new at manifesting, I would say it's probably going to be like a roller coaster. You're going to start thinking, oh my God, I can do anything. You're going to be really excited, and you're not going to see the results. You might see the results immediately, and you might not, because sometimes you're just really excited about something, but you haven't really changed your inner being. You just kind of are pushing it to the side. So once that comes up, if you haven't manifested it yet, if it's been a couple days, a couple of weeks, don't lose that excitement. I think a lot of times people get really excited and then they don't see it. They get really disappointed and then they give up. So just never give up. If you believe in your vision and you know that you can do it and you will do it, you will. So that's really like, expect it to come in waves. When you first started, being exciting and challenging and feeling like it's working and feeling like it's not working, but just know that it works. Like, always turn back to that.
That's so good. That's so good. You know, it's funny because I think just in what you said of like, don't just go down and pray and meditate, you know, and focus in on that and then just expect things to be different. I think that I love what Joe Dispenza says is about not getting up from the mat, you know, unless you feel different. And just having that change happen, you know, inside of you is so different and unique and critical, I think, to you attracting that. Because really it's just your energy changing, right?
Yeah.
And that's
Yep.
really what it is your energy is changing, and then therefore you can attract it.
Yeah.
So especially with dating and things like that, you attract who you are, right? Not necessarily what you want. So if you're
Yeah.
not different, then you're not going to attract the person that you're wanting to attract because you're not that person yourself, right?
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. If like for you, you wanted to be a singer or podcaster or something, wanted to use your voice in some powerful, influential way. And so if you don't step out and do it, you can be asking, you know, for direction, and you can be asking, you know, like, how do I do this? But until you actually step out and do it and take action too, you know, action steps, and which alters, I think, your energy. But you were actively, like when we were talking about your podcast on my episode, you know, on after we were done recording, like you were actively working on it. You actively were taking action steps, you know, to make it happen. So I think that's also maybe a part of the manifestation. It's not like you have to go out there and make it happen, but you can have little steps, little action steps that bring you closer to that, even though you haven't maybe yet manifested the whole thing yet. So,
yeah. And I think that goes with just being the person like that you want to be. When you like, if you want a relationship, you have to feel that love in you, and you feel loved and supportive like from in you, and that's when you get a partner that matches that. Versus if you're feeling lonely and looking for someone, you're gonna get a partner that makes you feel alone.
Yeah.
So if you want to be like a speaker, a singer, you have to talk to people about stuff. You have to sing. If you want to be a singer and you've never sang a song, no one's going to offer you a record deal because you don't sing. So it's like it's like a little bit of like faking it till you make it, but intentionally. So you can't think that you're faking it. You have to be like you're stepping into it.
Yes, exactly. That's what I was going to say. It's not necessarily, you know, faking it till you make it. It's like the opposite of that, because you're becoming it.
Yeah.
Before it fully manifests and become the dream that you want in your life, you're making little steps. And so I totally agree.
Well, they think it's faking it till you make it. So
yeah. Which I mean, it may feel like that, you know, like, gosh, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm gonna do it.
Oh, I would also say if you're new at manifesting, one thing people do is they like to tell people about it, like, oh, I'm manifesting this or I did that. But if you're like a baby manifester, is what I would call it, like, don't go looking for reassurance in other people. Don't be asking your friends, do you think I can manifest this? Like, can I, if you don't know that they're going to support you? So that would be like, don't let anyone's doubt crush you when you're new, because people mean well, but they think that being realistic is helpful when it's actually like hindering people.
Yes. Yeah. I've experienced that. And that's always really deflating, because it actually changes your energy. And then you your energy is now changed, and now you're having a real hard time, like even being creative with your thoughts. And like that energy of excitement isn't there, which needs to be there in order to make it happen. Yeah, that's really good. That's really good. Oh, so many good things. I just love it. I love talking like this. So I think so. I see we have a couple more people that joined. So go ahead and submit your questions if you have them. I'm gonna see if we have any. Let's see.
Yeah,
I don't see any right now. But yeah, totally comment and let us know if you have any questions. We're happy to answer on manifestation. So, you know, it's really funny. This coming week's episode on the Soulish podcast is with Amy Louise Cash, and she's a relationship coach. And so it's going to be really good, really good. So y'all should watch and listen. And, but she had such wisdom, and we talked offline a little bit, because I actually was totally tearing up during her episode. So I was like, like doing this, trying not to distract her as she was like laying it down. And so after she's like, okay, I saw like a few like little swipes, like what was happening in you. And I was like, God, like I think it's like, it's the healing process, right? Which I've been talking about on the podcast as well a lot, but it's the healing process when you're coming out of something that is familiar and that you know very well and that you let go of. And I think when you're in that space and you're wanting to manifest the next thing or the right thing, maybe you weren't in the right career or the right relationship, or you know, maybe even like friendships, you know, changed or switched. Like that happens, right? Between college and adult life and moving and things like that. And so I was just kind of explaining to her, for me, it was relationally related. And I was like, man, I want it. I want that guy. I want that powerful, healthy partnership, relationship. I want it so bad. And I know it's out there. I'm not crying because I'm not sure if it's there. I'm crying because it's like, oh, it's so deep. You know, it's such a deep desire. It's not a need. I could totally be happy without anybody, you know, like I don't need somebody. I'm not lonely. I'm very happy. I have a fluffy puppy, so I'm good. But I have a deep desire to experience a partnership like that, right? That's wonderful and healthy, aligned with you and your life. And so she told me, she said, seems like you're in the right place, and that your meditation practice, your visualization, right, which is all a part of manifesting, is all on track. She's like, the next thing you need to do is just take action steps. So like go on a dating app and just start talking to men. And I was like, ugh. Instantly I was like, I don't want to do that. And she was like, I know you might have like an aversion to that, because that's how I met my last guy. She's like, but just do it, just to have a conversation. She's like, you don't have to go on any dates if you don't want to. She's like, or go on a few. And she's like, you don't have to go in it thinking I'm going to meet that guy, that powerful, healthy relationship. But it's actively taking those steps and doing it intentionally, like you said. Not just because I'm lonely, right? Or even just because I don't want it, you know, or I want it. It's because I know that that's in my future. And so I'm signaling to the universe that I'm ready for this, that I'm open. And I think that was the huge ticket for me, that yes, I caved and I went on a dating app and started having conversations.
Anyone cute?
Yes.
Yay, we love that.
Yeah, I actually did meet somebody that is in full alignment with with everything that is on my list that I wrote down that I would like in a powerful, healthy relationship.
Have you met him or just chatting?
So far, we're just chatting. He's away on a business trip right now, so I won't meet him.
He's employed. We like that too.
We like that, you know? Yes, he's employed, very well off. He's good.
Okay,
he's
good.
Stable is good. But I think like the main thing too is that I was even telling my mom this, because she was like, you know, just like make sure, you know, and it is true, you don't know who's out there, right? And you don't know who you're talking with. So you can think like you're talking to a great person and you have no idea until you meet them. And I think that the main thing that I've been thinking and have kept this in my mind too, which I want for everyone that's listening in to just know this, that even if like this particular guy, let's say he's close, but he's not it, that's still awesome, because that means that I'm at least attracting the type of person that I want, right? So he may not be it for me, but he's close, which means I'm one step closer to finding that person if he isn't it. So I love that, because it's all about like the journey, right? And I just was reassuring my mother, because she was like, oh God, like Don't fall in love so quick. You know, I'm like, oh, no,
Yeah.
it's hard. He's really cute and sweet, and he's treating your daughter so well. He's everything he's saying is just so sweet. He's just a sweetheart, and so it's hard to not catch feels. But I just got so excited with the thought of like, this is awesome, because not
Yeah.
every guy talks to a woman like this, right? A lot of them are out just for one thing. And so it's refreshing, but it's also so great when you see at least mostly the right person, right? And or the right thing in your life. And it just has to be vetted. It has to be walked out. You have to continue to search it out and explore if this is the right pathway. So even if that's in a career, like, you get a great opportunity, that opportunity may not be the opportunity that you were exactly wanting, but it's close to it. Could be the money that you're looking to make, right? And it's almost there, but not quite. And it's just like, well, fantastic. Like, at least I'm getting offers, you know, and opportunities that are exciting, that I'm excited about, that would fund my dreams, that would help me, you know, live a sustainable, healthy, happy lifestyle, work-life balance. So I think like that's always a good thought to have, of like, don't get disappointed or discouraged when something that you thought was it, you get all excited about, but then it's not actually, like, it doesn't end up being the right thing.
Yeah. Like, you
I
think everything's working out, and the universe saying, no, we have something better.
Yeah.
But we're going to tease you with this. Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's important to look at everything that we do and be grateful for whatever we learned or liked out of it. So if you're dating a guy and he's not the one, say you have a list and he's like 80% and the other 20 are like deal breakers, you can be really grateful that you got to experience that 80% of what you liked, and have reassurance that yes, those are things that you want and need, and that you can't live without. Like, there's always that. And I think just being willing to say, hey, I'm clear, I want this, but kind of leaving it open for the universe for how you're going to get there will help you manifest a lot faster and a lot bigger and better. If you're too attached to, like, oh, I need to go on this app and date 5 guys and then pick one and date him and then get married by like 30 or something, like, you know, like, plan it out.
We have a time.
You're doing too much. You're doing
That's
too much.
when you end up in the wrong thing. That's when it gets scary, because you're willing to compromise your standards or what you want for just the next thing that's available, or the thing that is pursuing you, you know, because as women, right, we're like, oh, I'm being pursued. Like, so that's it though. That's all you wanted. You just wanted to be pursued by a guy. Because that can happen with any guy. Any guy can pursue you. Any guy can tell you you're beautiful, you know, you're lovely. Any guy can do that. But that doesn't mean that he's the one for you. So it's the same thing. Like, it can be a great job, but gosh, if you don't suss out whether that, you know, direct report that you have is going to be somebody that you can work well with and can have a good working relationship with, it's going to be hell, you know?
Yeah.
Hell. It's gonna really suck. And then you might end up fired or let go, or you might quit because you can't handle it, because this guy or girl is not in alignment. You know? Not something you want to work for.
That's one thing too, where if you're working on manifesting something, that you have to be okay with that thing changing and what you want changing. So I've manifested jobs that I liked for certain periods of time. They were perfect fit. I've learned a lot, but after a certain amount, it was kind of like, okay, like, there's time for the next. Same with relationships or experiences or hobbies even. I would be like, okay, I'm done with this, time for the next. So I think it's okay to change. And sometimes people hold on to what they want to manifest or what they manifested, even if they feel that gut instinct to leave because they don't trust the universe. They are like, this is here now, I need to do the right things to keep it. Where if you just get in alignment constantly and clarity and are trusting, things will work out the way that they're supposed to, and you won't have to force anything to stay or to be or to come.
Yes. Totally. 1000% agree.
Yeah.
It's so good. gosh, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. And I just checked if we had any questions and we don't. So anybody that's on, if you want to ask any last questions before we duck out of this live session here with Bri, then yeah. Do you have any final thoughts?
Me? Well, I actually got one question. I posted something the other day. They didn't request it for this live, but I thought you're a coach, it would be a great question for you.
Yeah.
And asking about guilt and shame when manifesting.
Yeah.
So,
like
what are your
how to avoid it?
Yeah, or what to do if you're, I think maybe they were saying like, oh, I want to manifest like a lot of money, but I'm feeling guilty about it.
Okay.
Or like, I want to manifest a new partner, but I'm feeling guilty about leaving my old one.
And that's in my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
So I would say this. I think when we don't have or we lack self-acceptance, self-love, self-worth, that's when it's hard because we don't feel worthy of it. And therefore, then we have the opposite feeling of worthiness, which is unworthiness, which then we feel guilty or wrong or out of line for asking for something that is extraordinary or something we don't currently have or want. So I would say for somebody that really wants to manifest money, also know where that's coming from. Is that coming from a fear of the future? Is that coming from a lack mentality that you just really want to be a millionaire so that you never have to worry? Because that's not why you would want to have abundance in your life, right? But if you know that, if you link money, because I link money with like my purpose, and why do I want to have money? I want to have money so that I'm free to help people. And like with life coaching, I'm not in it for the money, but I do think that there's an element of value there that people actually need to give value for what they're receiving. Because then it also does something for you as somebody who is a client to a life coach, that you are taking it more seriously. You're invested, right? And so you're invested in your journey and in your healing process. And I think that's a huge deal. So as far as abundance, like for me as a life coach, I think of it as I want to be able to be free to do whatever I feel and am led to do with clients. And I want to be able to give free sessions, to people that that really need it, that are in dire straits and really need somebody to come alongside them and help them through whatever they're going through. So I want to be able to do that and to be financially okay when I do that, and not be struggling either, because it is a business.
So do you deal with guilt being a coach and asking people for money? I wonder if that would be like aligned with their question.
Yeah, that might be aligned with the question. I would say at the beginning, yes, because I also was transitioning from doing it pro bono. So I was going from doing it for like nonprofits and like in the church, like as ministry. And so then I was feeling like, ooh, this is so weird. This is such a weird transition to now think of it as a business. But when I switched my mindset of, hey, what do I want my clients to do? I want them to invest. I'm investing in them. They need to invest in me. And it's a mutual exchange. And so I think that's how I switched, and I didn't feel guilty. I also am very reasonable with my prices. I'm not charging $100 per session. I'm only charging $60. Because for me, I mean, also I'm changing from pro bono to not pro bono. And so I just feel, especially during COVID, like I can't ask people, that's $100. That's groceries, for your family. But $60, $1 per minute for the session doesn't sound unreasonable. Like I have okay feelings about that. I don't feel like that's out of alignment for me.
So I think that's really important, what you just said, that when you're dealing with feelings of guilt and shame, like, oh, I'd feel guilty charging them that much, that you're like, okay, what am I comfortable with?
Yeah.
That's, I think, super important, because you're trying to find a place where you're valuing yourself just as they have to value themselves to put in the work.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you're asking for an exchange.
They're investing. And I think when you invest in something, now you expect results, and now you'll actually work for them. You know, whether you can, I mean, how many free workshops, I have a free workshop, but how many free workshops are there? You know, seminars, webinars that you can do, and you're taking in the information, but maybe it didn't like actually sit in you. Maybe you didn't actually take any action steps, because what did you give for that information? Really not much, right? But if you invest in something, you're investing not only your money, but you're investing your time, you're investing your thoughts, you're investing, you know, in your change. And so I think that's huge. As far as the relationship went, that is a little bit complicated when someone is currently in a relationship, because I left my relationship with no promise of finding anybody. I didn't do it because I had somebody else that I was attracted to or lined up. I had nobody, and I was still in love. And I'll always like have love for that person, but like in love, you know, is different. But I just knew this is not serving me. And if it's not serving me, it's also not serving him. And if we're not in alignment as a couple, then we're both going to be miserable, not just me. And so I think for somebody that's in a current relationship and they find themselves looking elsewhere, I would say if that's what's happening, then you're obviously not in the relationship. There's something that's out of alignment. It's not serving you for where you are in your life right now. Maybe things change. That was kind of part of that experience for me, is that life really changed some things, and not for the better. You know, it became very toxic, and so like energy wise, and just negative. And I'm not that person. I rather positive. So just even on that level, it wasn't in alignment. So if that's the case, then I would say be bold and do it out of love for yourself first and love for them. And then if you do that, you won't do it wrong. Your words, your actions will continually say, I care deeply for you and I have love for you, but we're not meant to be for this reason. And whether they agree with it or not, it doesn't matter, because they probably don't see it like you see it, right? So I just saw we had someone join. Hi. So we're talking right now about like relationships and like how do you deal with guilt and stuff. And as far as like in a relationship, when you're maybe currently in a relationship and you you see yourself looking elsewhere, or you're wanting something else. Hi, somebody else joined. Cool. Then you know, what do you do when you're attracting somebody else, maybe, or you're interested in somebody else, but you're currently in a relationship? And I would say too, also, sometimes what we're interested in when we're currently in a relationship and you see yourself like attracted to somebody else, and it not necessarily physically, but like you're getting on with somebody else way better than you currently get on with your current partner. I think that's also another sign of like, it should be easy. It should feel like that. So if it's not feeling like that, then that's another reason of realizing like, okay, this isn't really serving me in my life right now. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing that's like, I think we feel guilty because we feel like, well, crap, I feel like I'm leading this person on now. And the truth is, no, you're just having a shift and a realization. And sometimes, like for me, loyalty is something that I am big on. So I'm like loyal till death. And even when I'm not married to this person, that's just how I am. So I felt guilty for all the promises of I'll never leave you. And the truth is, I will never leave him as a friend. Like, you know, if something happened with his family, I would probably go there. I probably would help. Like, you know, it would have to be okay with my current partner, and I would probably bring him, you know, but like if something went down, I would send love and care his way and to his family. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think the whole thing about moving on from somebody that you love and somebody that that you care deeply about, but you're realizing this isn't meant to be for the long term, is you have to be true to yourself. If you're not true to yourself, you cannot be true to him or her. And so manifesting that next person, the person that you're maybe attracted to, let's say you are attracted to somebody else, maybe it's a friend, a mutual friend or something, you know, that you know, this person that you know, and you're attracted to them and attracting them into your life. There's more investment coming from them to you, right? I think that may not necessarily mean that that person is your person. It just means you're attracting, like I said earlier, you're attracting somebody that is in the same place of the person that you want. And so you're one step closer. But what you need to do is you need to have integrity. You need to communicate with your current partner. You need to, you know, do things right and do things in love and care. And then that way you don't feel wrong. Like, I don't regret anything of what I said and how I said it and the action steps, you know, that I took. I don't regret it. I did it all in love for myself and love for him. And so I have no regrets moving forward because of that. And I think it's when we do things because we've held off and we're like, you know, we're slowly like building, right? And we're not present with ourselves. I think that's when we explode on that person, and that's when it can be a real conflict, a bad breakup, right? And also not going into the breakup conversation expecting them to be the same as you, right? I think that's another thing, because I definitely, man, like guns came out, knives came out, knives were drawn for me. Started cutting me up into little things, even talking about like, you've changed, you know, you're now doing this, you're now life coaching, and that's changed you. You're a changed person. I'm like, I've never been different. Like I've always been who I am, you know?
I feel like that there is, like, when you start manifesting and you start saying, hey, I don't want to settle in my life, that there is a change in you. Like when you start putting yourself first, there is a change, whether it's a change that they can see or they can feel. And so I think a lot of times of that guilt and shame with manifesting, or, you know, people don't want, you know, when you worry about being successful or moving on, what others are going to think is that you're worrying about what they think. And it's never, no matter how much you want it to be, it's never your job to make someone else happy. It's your job to make you happy. And then when you're happy, you're your highest self. And then you can attract in people and help them reach their highest self just by being true to you. So if you're trying to shut that off to not step on any toes, not have any conflict, not shake up your life and someone else's, then you're just not, you're not actually helping yourself or them.
Yeah. And you have to be ready for it. You have to be ready for the fact that it may be painful. And I think for him, he was trying to cut me down. Like, oh, this is, you know, this is an issue with you. And I was like, no, it's actually not. It's just the fact that we are not in alignment, period. Has nothing, you're not wrong. I'm not wrong. There's nothing wrong here. And I think that's the case too with other people in relationships or in jobs. Like that's the thing, is we can't judge people just because people are growing, you know, which really that's what was happening. I was growing and spreading my wings, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
And you want a partner, you want a partner that celebrates you and is like, okay, let me help you take off, you know, phew. Throw you in the air.
All right, you got your wings, I got mine. When are we jumping?
Yeah.
You don't want to, like, you don't want to hold on to him. Like, you want him to have his own wings.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't want to be held down to the ground by anything or anyone ever in your life. So I think that's
don't hold yourself down.
Exactly. Yeah. And that holding yourself down, again, would be unworthiness, feeling unworthy of a good thing. And no one is unworthy. And so, but we have to dig deep and go into ourselves of, why do I feel unworthy? Is it because of how I was treated as a kid? Is it that my parents maybe weren't big on words of affirmation? They didn't, you know, I struggled in school. So I didn't, you know, from the beginning stages of my development, I've never felt quite enough and worthy of good things or the best, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's a big deal to go down deep and discover that, because there could be something in you holding you down, and you just got to go in and find it and release it and accept it. You know, like, hey, this happened, but it doesn't define me. And I'm not going to let it define me anymore, because I want to go places. I want to experience healthy, powerful relationships in my life. I want to be happy doing what I'm doing every day, wake up excited and full of passion. And, you know, that's what you want for your life.
Yeah. And that's what others should want for you too. Mm-hmm. Once you want that for yourself, you'll want it for others, and the right people will come into your life that also want it for you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
I see a couple more people join, which is great. Any questions, you guys, before we wrap up? I don't see any in the little question thing.
Nope. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, you guys. This was my first live. Was it your first live?
Yeah, it was my first live.
It was our first live.
We popped our live cherry together.
I know. A lot of cherry is popped.
A lot of cherries have popped with you and I, Bri.
The live Shirley Temple now. What has cherry in it? Metaphors for next time. I feel like we're gonna do it again. We might.
We should. We should. There's more there. We just touched the surface, so it's good. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. This is Bri Mele from the Millennial Soul and Whitney Apke from the I Am Soulish podcast, and this was awesome, and we hope that you guys get a lot out of it. Thank you so much for joining us or listening.
Yeah. Yay. I don't know how to end it. I'll say goodbye.
See you, Bri. See you next time.